With fees rising and graduate job prospects very uncertain, the issue of how well universities prepare students for the world of work concerns us all, families, students, employers, universities, politicians alike. But do universities really know what employers want? What does being employable really actually mean?
From the college's perspective, we look at employability in two respects. We look at it in the sense of, are we adding value to the students in terms of their careers? And the second aspect, where I think the college has got something to add to the debate, is that public funding for our programmes was removed over 20 years ago. So all of our students have been either paid for, sponsored by employers, or are paying for themselves on a full fee basis. And that really does drive home the issue of employability. It really concentrates the mind, shall we say, when you're operating in that environment. What it really means to us is that twofold. First of all, it's not just careers advice. You have to take employability into the classroom. And you have to be able to go into a process of active listening, really careful active listening, to find out what it is, what skill sets do they want the next generation to have, what matters to them. And those clients, they do turn up. There are 3 people in the room, I shan't name the shame, but there are 3 people in the room who on the first day of the programme, for their students, they turn up 9:30 on a Monday morning and they talk to their students about what it's going to be like when they eventually join that law firm. And the students turn up suited and booted, and they are on time and they are on best behaviour and they listen, and it's a very powerful point of engagement. We're operating as a world-class recruitment service. It's not just careers, it's about having a vacancy database to die for, it's about delivering all forms of research advice and preparation for interview and selection processes, but also then following it up. So following up with tracking processes that enable you to track employability.
And I think it's very typical of an employer to stand at the sidelines and snipe and tell universities what they're doing wrong. So I'm not going to do that throughout the rest of this debate. Because I think as an employer you have no right to stand there and snipe unless you are getting involved with universities and supporting the development of curriculum, unless you are getting involved with universities and supporting the delivery of content and offering quality work placements, unless you are off going to universities and supporting the careers advice. I think you've got no right to criticise universities if you're not doing that.
Companies now openly talk about the war for talent. This was an idea launched by McKinsey in the early 90s, and the idea is that even though there's lots of graduates around, the actual talent is finite. If you're at war, if you're fighting a war for talent, what do you need? You need weapons. And that's what graduate recruiters have now. They have weapons of mass rejection. And these are being deployed on campus as we speak. So when I was a student in about 1840, all you needed was a degree to get an interview. Today, a degree just gets you to a position on the field. If you're going to be employable today, you have to be able to decode complex signals. This is where the sociology of employability is quite interesting. I spoke to an investment bank and they said to me, off record, they said, we'd never recruit anyone who wore a shirt with a pocket in his shirt. And I said, why? And they said, we don't know. We just wouldn't. So unless you know these things, you can develop all these skills, but unless you know how the game works, you're never going to get to win the game.
Pose your question. Why are we so interested in knowledge when it's skills that really matter? Knowledge without skills is a pretty empty vehicle. Why do we spend so much time assessing and evaluating knowledge and not the same amount of time assessing and evaluating skills? Why do we spend more time looking at how we integrate skills development within our curriculum instead of knowledge acquisition? This supply chain between universities and business. Business runs supply chains, and you communicate very well with your suppliers, and you make sure you get a seamless, just-in-time mentality, perhaps, or you make sure the quality is right. So how come we haven't got a similar relationship between universities and business? We're in need of a new covenant between universities and business, and I hope there's one on its way. Thank you.